In this last video, we're just going to add a little bit of detail, or sorry, I should say this last modelling set of the videos. We're going to add just a few more bits of detail onto here, onto our model. And I'm going to start with this bit of detail here. It's just really just a block or something. I don't know whether that's going in or out. I'm going to have it coming out rather than going in, simply because that's easier. So let's just draw a shape like that. Pull it out slightly, and then we'll go into our 3D view. And I'll look at my details here. Now I'll give it a positive height of about that. Then we'll right click and convert it to an editable polygon. And I'll take that and I'll go for the bevel here, and I'll give it a bit of height, and I'll bevel that amount in. Click OK, that should be alright. And that just allows me to take the object into the building a little bit. Okay, so add a material onto that. And we'll shift and drag a clone or copy of that over to here. There we go. And now what I'm interested in doing is creating this bit here. Okay, so again, I'm going to create two spheres, and I'll have them by edge creation. We'll take off auto grid, and I'll create one there, and my other one up here. Okay, so we'll go to our perspective view. We'll select both of those and we'll bring them out from, instead of being in the middle of the house, to the front. There we go. And I'm also going to come back to my front view here. Let's just highlight those. There we go. I'm also going to create just a simple box, and that box is going to sit just above them. So again, I'll move that out, bring it back to where it should be, move it outside of the building. There we go. So it's obviously not in its absolute correct placement at the moment, but I don't think that matters particularly. Which one do I want? Probably that one. There we go. We'll move that right in the middle there. Perfect. And then I'm going to create a pyramid, and I'll try and find that surface. Brilliant, found that surface, that's great, so that'll come up. And what I'm going to do with that is I'll pop that just up on the top here. Convert this to an edit poly because I don't think I quite made this tall enough. And I'm not convinced I made it short enough either. Where are we? There we go. No, I didn't. There we go, just there. Brilliant. So let's just hide, oops, wrong one. Hide our shapes quickly. 2, 3, 4. And I'll just do this. Just going to pull that into place just here. Now that's actually going to intersect with the top of the guttering that we created, but that's fine, because what I can do with that is just pull that back in slightly. Pull that there, and then I'm going to take this object and I'm just going to pull that in front of it just a little bit, so it's just like, there we go. Now I might actually do that with it. It's a tricky one, this, because I'm trying to get a balance here. There we go, that should be enough to do it. So I'll copy that over as well now that I've made all those parts. There we go. And I'll shift and drag. Again, we'll drag that across to the other side there, and I will zoom in on it as well and just make sure that it's in the correct placement. And in actual fact, yeah, I'm happy with that. That actually looks better than it does over here, to be honest. I think maybe what we could do is just take these and, I don't know, do you want to pull them out, pull them back in? Probably pull them out just a little way. There we go. Oh no, that last movement was too much, because what I want to do is have that just a little bit that way. I think what I'm going to do is actually leave that. No, I'm going to leave it. It's there. It's done. Stop fiddling. Otherwise, if I fiddle too much with it, it's just going to get worse, isn't it? So something else I need to do is to put the window sills in underneath each one of the windows. So we can start that with just being a box. There we go, and that can come out a little way. We'll zoom in and we'll focus in on that as well. And I'll give that a positive height. Whee, there you go. So we've got just one windowsill there, and we'll make sure that intersects with the back of the object there. I think that should probably be a different size. I'm going to go with there, and let's have a look. Well, that's definitely one. Now that fits almost. Ah, there's my window and there's their window, isn't there? Okay, this is where it's going to get a bit tricky. That's my window, and that should be there, which then means my windowsill should be here. Oh, that's odd. That's drawn strangely. Let's just double check this a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'll hide that bit. So I'm going to hide this. It's going to make things a bit clearer to see. And I'm going to take this here and I'm going to move that over. So this problem is we're trying to jiggle and I'm trying to juggle, and really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to juggle a drawing which I'm not convinced is actually drawn correctly. So we might actually get to a point where we just go, yeah, that's it, I'm not going to do any more with this. And I think I've reached that point. I really do. Let's bring that up. There you go, there's one windowsill. I'll convert that to an editable polygon. We'll pull that out. We'll give it a material as well. There we go. I'll obviously shift and drag that up. Make a copy of it above. Oh, I'll tell you what I'll also do. Because I can, I'll shift and I'll drag and I'll make a copy up here as well. And we'll focus in on that. There we go. And we'll come in there. And we'll come in here. And then that's going to come out to there. I can see actually that should be there. And then that's going to come up to there. Okay, so let's move that across slightly. I think these are going to have to be moved out a little bit. Okay, so I'll take that as an object and I'll shift and drag it up. There we go. We start hiding these shapes again so we can see how this detail's coming along. See, that's the problem with the keyboard. I have to hold this shift down as if my life depended upon it. It's a little bit difficult to work with. And there we go. We'll shift that down. We'll just move that down a little bit. There we go. Right, so now that object, and that object. I will shift and drag that along. And I'll just double check that they're in the right place. There we go. So that's looking good. So now what I'm going to do is I'll take one of these sets here and here, and I'll shift and copy that over here. Then I'll rotate, and I'll probably come to my top view and zoom in on those. Go to wireframe and I'll put them in position. Just try and check and make sure that everything's all correct. Just take off my angle snap just to give me a bit of a freer rotation. There we go, and no, just want that. A little bit of a freer rotation. There we go, 1 or 2 degrees, not much. There we are. Okay, so now I'll take this and I'll move it up slightly, and I'll take that, I'll take my window and I'll make that a little bit taller for a start. I'll shrink that down, and then I'm going to take these two objects and I'm going to scale them by their local axes. There we go. And I'll take this bottom one here and I'll just pull that out a little bit. That's good, that's working for me. Take both of those, shift and drag them down until they fit. Shift and drag them over so that we make copies. And I might try changing my move tool to local, just see what that gives me. Oh, that's a little bit better there. So they will now match in a lot better. And I'll also do a mirror and a copy. And we'll pull that along there. Again, make that local. So I can just get that to work properly. There we go. See, simple, easy. I'm not fussing about this. Make that world again. Copy those. And, oh, hello. Do you know what? I shouldn't have mirrored them. All I needed to do was just make copies like this. Drag them across until they fitted. There we go, that was the whole point of doing that, wasn't it? Move to local again. Drag that there. Push them back in so they start to intersect with the building. Take that one, move it out a little bit. There we go. Take that one, move that out a little bit as well. So we're creating areas of shadow for the building. We take that off. I don't know if you can see now. We're starting to get a really nice, really detailed building appear in front of us. And I need to put some detail in the top here. So let's just take off shapes. Remember, save, Control S. And we notice our incremental save, we've got an 01 up here now. Probably should have done that a bit sooner, but never mind. And let's take this face. And I'm going to extrude up. Click OK, and I'll just move that up. And then I'm just going to scale in 2 dimensions as well. Let's see, so scale in 2 dimensions, there we go. And then I'm going to extrude up again. Not quite as far this time. There we go, that ought to do it. Now, I could just drag and drop that over onto the other side here, but to be honest with you, I can't be bothered, so I'm just going to do the same operation because it's such a small operation. I'll take that. I'll extrude up. I'll scale out. And then I'll extrude up again and reduce the size of that extrusion. So there we go, there's the top detail in there. We will need some detail for the bottom as well. And what I'm going to do with that is possibly just pick that edge and that edge, and if I connect the two, I don't know how well this is going to work. Quite badly if I slide that down to there. Oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay, sorry, yes, mumbling to myself again, Stephen. Let's just put that there. That's great. So I'm going to isolate that object whilst I still can, and I'm going to use my cut tool. So I'm going to go from that vertex to there to back, from that vertex to there to back, and I'll grab all of my vertices in that line and I'll make them planar in Z. Boom, there we go. Nice and easy. Then what I'm going to do is I'll take the polygons, 1, 2, let's get out of this scale mode, 3, 4, 5, and unisolating it, we are going to need to do a scale. So, no, we're not. We're going to do, oh, let me think. Can I do an extrude? We'll extrude out by local normal. Probably by about that much. I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to loop, and then I'm just going to pull it down slightly. Genius. Now, I really am feeling properly lazy about this now, so I can't be bothered to do that again. So we'll just move that over there, copy it, get rid of our shapes so I can see this more accurately, and just gently move there. And, oh, you know what, I'm going to undo all of that, and I am actually going to go and do that process over here. Looking at it, really wasn't working for me, and it's a good idea when you start to see something you think that's not working, is to just give up, stop, walk away from it. That was going the wrong way. I really just want to make this, there we go, do that. Let's include that line, and then probably one of the back seems it all seems to be working fine. There we go. Sometimes you just want to go, yeah, that's not working anymore, is it? And start again. So we've got this process kind of down pat now. Going to extrude that out by local normal by about, how far did that come out? Let's have a look. Well, it came out quite a way, wasn't it? It's quite chunky. So we'll come out that far as well. And then we'll go to edge and I'll select that edge and I'll loop. And then I'll move that down and in fact to match slightly up. And there we go. God, we've only got to put the guttering in now. So house is looking really nice now. Let's get our shapes back on here, and from this view, I lied, it's not just the guttering that we've got to put in. I'm going to create a box, turn on the auto grid, and that's just going to be my box here. Let's zoom in on that. So this is like an electrical or a gas meter box, so that'll come in just there, and I'll convert that to an edit polygon, select that face and bevel, and come in, there we go. Apply my material to that, and then I'm going to shift and drag a box over there. That'll do. I'm also going to create a line, and this is a great sort of introduction to what we're going to be doing next with the guttering, because once I've got that line and I've moved it outside of the building, okay, what I can do with it, if I view it properly, what I can do with it is I can say rendering, enabling renderer, and enabling viewport. I can do this, and what I've done is, you can see that I've actually created geometry, and that could be as fat as we want or as skinny as we want. Okay, so we want it to be fairly skinny. I'm going to convert that to an edit polygon, so that when I hide my splines, I'm not actually hiding that as well. We'll put that so that it just sits about there, and then I'll shift and drag that object over, so I've got a copy of it. Oh no, wrong one. There we go. We'll select both of those objects, zoom out, select these two items here as well. I'm going to hide those shapes. See, didn't hide this bit. And then I'm going to mirror those. And Y, no idea what the offset's going to be with that. Around Z. That looks like it kind of worked. And then I'm going to pop them just here. And we'll move them back until they hit the wall. Oi, there we go. And then move them out again. There we go. I might actually now just take these two lines and move them out so we can actually see them. Otherwise there's no point. There you go. Simple, easy. Another piece of detail put in. So, one last thing that we've got to do now is to just put the guttering in. So I need to check and see where the guttering goes. And we've got one bit of guttering along here that goes then down. That's fine. And I've got a piece of guttering that probably goes here and along and round and down. Okay, that's nice and easy. We can cope with that. What I am going to do though is I'm going to take all of my shapes now that I don't really need them particularly. Unhide all and that one. And I'm going to make sure they go on a layer. New layer. I can't be bothered to name it, but I really should do. I'm going to call this reference shapes. Go back to my default and hide my reference shapes. There we go. So look at that. That's a pretty good looking model that we've created here so far. Pretty good looking model indeed. Okay. So let's go to create again. And let's go to line, and I'll go to my top view. We'll look at this in, well, actually, do I want to look at that in wireframe? Maybe looking at it like this will be a bit better. And I'm going to draw a line that's going to start about here and go there, there, and down here. Make that the perspective view again. And I'm going to drag that up to about there. And I'm going to make that a lot fatter. There we go. Make it look and feel like it's a piece of guttering. So there you go. Yep, that's about right. And that looks about right as well. So I'll give it a few more sides. Probably about 18. And we'll convert it to an editable polygon. This is the great bit about this. I'll just do that and that and that. Get rid of it. And then over on this side, get hold of that and I'll get rid of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all the polygons in the top there. Okay. So we'll just delete those. And then I'm going to start doing something called bridging. So I'll take these two edges, oops, and these two, and these two, and gosh and golly, probably these two. And then I'll bridge. Looks like it's going to work to me. Let's go to vert. Oh, we've lost the object. This happens sometimes with 3D Studio when you're working. Let's just grab all of those and check them for welding. Okie dokie. I'm going to do the same thing over here with the deleting of the faces. Delete. And again, I'm going to pick my edges. And I'm going to bridge. And then just because I really want to be silly about this, I'm going to put a shell modifier on there. And look at that. I've actually created a U-shaped guttering. Fantastic, isn't it? So we'll convert that to an editable polygon. I'll move that about there. I'll move that about there. And then from my front view, no, that's my side view, my front view. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line. And that line will be corner and corner, and it will come from here, it will come down a bit, it'll come to about there, and then straight down. Now I will decrease the radius of that, there we go, and I'll make sure that vertex, that sits inside there, and then that and that sit against the wall, and then this young skipper millad can come right the way down and into the ground, and then I'll move that forwards. So I'll move it forward so that it doesn't interfere with the front of the house there. There we go. And I might even take that vertex and that vertex just to be very cutesy about this. And pull them in like that, just be really careful about it. That's great, I'm loving that. Convert to editable polygon and mirror that in X. Mirror that in X. Okay. So there we've got really nice piece of detail. Now we can obviously go in and we can say, well, actually I think that we need to put some door furniture on here and other bits and pieces. For this exercise, I think we've gone as far as I really want to go with it. If you've got libraries of various body parts, as it were, parts for houses, then you can start to bring those in. I'm going to put this onto a ground plane. So that I can cast some shadows on it. Convert to editable polygon, add materials. So there we go. There is a great model making project. We've gone all the way through the whole thing. I'll tell you what I'll quickly do as well. I will just take a standard skylight and I'll take a mental array area spot just for my shadows. I'm not going to set daylight up on this because you don't really need to. Change that by world. There we go. And I'll make this a slight yellowy sort of colour. And I'll make that a much better blue instead of white. There you go. I'll say Control C to create a camera, which will be 35mm. And I'll move both the target and the camera in. There we go. I'll dolly my camera around now. Just pan that. Put a little bit here so we can see not quite down the side of the house. There we go. And then I'll pick a format to render it with. So actually we'll make sure that this is in mental array. And once it's in mental array, I'll make sure my indirect illumination is turned down a bit. And that my common parameters, I'm going to go with HD size. And I'll make this half HD, so 640, 360. And then I'll just do a quick render. And we'll wait for that for a few moments. There we go. Computing the final gather. This is all going to be very nice and bright. Hopefully we're going to go, oh, you know what I didn't do? Things you should also set up. From my environment, I'll just turn this down a little bit. And also in my renderer, I'm going to make this 1 and 4, and I'm going to make that Mitchell. There we go. So we'll wait for a few moments and we'll wait for this to render, and I'll come back when it's finished. So now that's rendered, you can see we've got a lot of nice detail in there. It looks a little bit bitty, but that's because we've got it at quite a, such a low resolution. If it was on a finer resolution, so I was doing full HD and all the rest of it, you'd be able to, none of this gribbling would be coming in here. But it looks great. There's a lot of detail in there, and it's got the basis or the makings of being a really good, really detailed, high resolution piece of work once that's been textured, taken into Photoshop and polished.